Let's talk about feedback now. Feedback definitely should be given after every single trial. Without doing so, the student would not know upon meeting the antecedent whether their behavior response was correct or not. And when you pair it up with positive reinforcement, it'll tell the student the next time the same antecedent occurs, they should behave the same way again because there was positive reinforcement at the end. Now, and on the same token, when they have a behavioral response and there's a lack of reinforcement, then they will know, oh, the next time the antecedent occurs, I should change my behavior and not perform the same way. Now, you definitely want to provide the response immediately, the feedback after the response immediately, because it helps shape contingencies, meaning the student will understand better when will they get reinforcement and not. And it also helps strengthen the bond between the behavior and reinforcement because you're always reinforcing the closest behavior within the ABC. So you have antecedent, behavior, consequence. And let's say it's okay, come here, the student comes over. If you reinforce immediately, it helps build that rule that, oh, I'm being reinforced for following that instruction. Whereas if you actually delay the reinforcement and feedback, there may be other behavior occurrence taking place, and therefore they might be actually thinking, I'm being reinforced for looking away, maybe jumping up and down, and so on. Now, let's take a look at some examples right now.
Give me the apple. Yes, good job, the apple. For you.
And lastly, let's take a look at the last point. Uh, we want to give informative feedback. A lot of times when students do well, we may say things like good, great, uh, that's a nice job, but we're not really highlighting anything with it. And when we give informative feedback, we want the student to understand it is the behavior that takes the higher importance. For example, we want them to know that they were being quick, or that they looked at certain things that they were supposed to, that they were calm. um, I think it is very important to learn academics. It's very important to learn what a triangle is, I'm sure. But it's much more important that the student learn to look, stay focused, and to sit nicely. So when we do give feedback, we try to be as informative as possible. Let's take like some examples right now.
Clap your hands. Good job. Touch your nose. Good job. Tap your head. Good job. Tap your tummy. Good job. Tap your lap. Good job. Raise your arms. Good job. Clap your hands. Nice clapping. Wave. Well done. Tap your head. Nice and quick. Tap your tummy. Super. Finish the worksheet. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Finish the worksheet. Wow, I like how you drew on the line. Good following those dots. Wow, look at that. Good job. Well done. I like that you finished all the worksheet by yourself and nice and precise.
Lastly, we're going to talk about the intertrial interval. Now, this is time between one discrete trial to the next. So basically, when you've gone through the first discrete trial and you've given feedback and consequence, there is that time between that till the next antecedent, and this is where the intertrial interval is. So it is the time between two trials. And what it is a time for us to reflect. It is a time that we should use wisely. It is time that we should be analytical, and we use this time to prepare, and we use this time to have fun. Um, for the therapist, for one thing, we use this time to identify reasons for the student's success or failure. We're trying to think about why he got it right or why he got it wrong. Let's say if you gave an instruction to the student and he got an incorrect answer, and because he was looking away, at which point I would take this time to think, okay, you know what? He wasn't looking at the field that was on the table. I'm going to apply a prompt. I'm going to apply perhaps a gestural prompt so it gets his attention back looking at the table. It definitely is a time for us to use to think about how to make things better further on. So it isn't just pure downtime. For the time for the student, it is time for the student to understand the consequence of things too. If they were correct, and let's say they were to receive a reinforcement, a tangible toy, then at that time, they're there to enjoy the moment and to understand by being correct, being appropriate, that they're actually getting to play. And therefore, they're enjoying their time of reinforcement. But at the same token, if the student behaved in a certain way and it wasn't appropriate, and there would be a lack of reinforcement, at which point they understand that behavior wasn't correct and it resulted in no reinforcement being given. And for the teacher, too, once again, it is time for preparation. So although it is time for the student to play, to understand consequence, it is also time for the therapist to prep. That way, we create a little bit more of a better routine. You don't want too much downtime for the students sometimes because a lot of times kids are not aware of what's going on around them and they're engaging in inappropriate behavior, self stimulation, and you want to maximize time use. So by the time the student is done playing and you remove the reinforcement, the materials for the next trial should have been prepped up and you can start trials immediately. And of course, this is for maybe beginning learners where you want them to be fully occupied, where they're not able to be independent to spend the time on their own. Eventually, we can change that kind of schedule. But meanwhile, that's what the intertrial interval is for.